Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to another segment of Voices of Empowerment with Dr. B. I am your girl, Dr. Bianca Miss B. Lee. I am a therapist, counselor, spiritual mentor, advisor, whatever you need, business teacher, all of the things. But tonight, we are here as collective readers of an amazing, very informative, very confronting and provocative book called Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents, written by Isabel Wilkerson. This book is absolutely phenomenal. It's bittersweet though. It's phenomenal because it's a great write. It's an amazing, amazing historical book. It tells us about the history of not just our discontents, those of us who are of African and or indigenous descent, but it's also telling about the whole of the discontents worldwide. Indians and Jews and dealing with the Nazis and the Dalits and the whole the hierarchies and class and categories and all of the things. And then here in America, blacks and whites. Man, oh man, oh man, it's been something. It has been something to just discover and go through this whole process that is our history, our life. And these chapters have been kind of hard to get through for me on a couple of occasions because some of the parts I cannot read them without seeing my ancestors, without envisioning what they have had to endure on a day-to-day basis. The elders, they don't have their story, they don't tell their stories thoroughly like they usually would, and or like we would like them to, I would say. So a lot of our history, ancestral history, it's not, we don't know it, honestly. We don't know it fully because they did not share it as willfully, to us as we would have liked them to. um but I will say I can almost guarantee that there was a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of um sorrow, just sorrow that our ancestors went through that we can't even begin to gauge or fathom. But those of us who are in the know in terms of our spirituality and things like that, and how we can be fully connected to our ancestors because we are, but we can be cognizant of the connection to our ancestors by way of the pain that they felt. We're here to bring a closure to that, if you will, healing to that, recompense to that, if you will, by our lives and our choices, because we are here to um, fulfill the dreams that they had and could not. That they endured long enough for to ensure that we would be here to fulfill the dream that is freedom to our bloodlines. Even if it's healing whatever situation, whatever circumstance, whatever pattern and parallel that you've seen and spotted inside of your bloodline, if it's pain, if it's, anxiety, if it's bad health, if it's, promiscuity, if it's whatever it is, that's for you to identify in your bloodline. I've identified several of my own in both my mom and my dad's side. I'm sure there's more, but I know I've identified them because I saw those same similar traits displayed in me. And I was able enough to sit down. I am able enough to sit down and identify them, call them what they are, and then do a cross check, with my lineages and generations behind me or before me, and to see, yeah, that looks like that. That looks like the pain there, and that we don't want to continue it. I have a saying where I say, it ran in my family until it ran into me. And I hold true to that. I really, really do. So that takes continued work. And in order for us to, I call it the GPS one-on-one theory. In order for us to reach our point of destination, whatever that point is, you only know what that point is because it's your own point that you've decided for yourself. But in order for us to reach there, our destination, like GPS, You have to put in your destination. It's going to ask you, where are you going? So we put in our destination, our goal, our aspiration, um, for this life and for our lives, for our bloodlines, for whatever. In order for it to create a route, a precise route, you have to first identify where you are, what your current location is. And my current location, I'm always checking, always. And I invite you to do the same. Be as real with yourself as you possibly can, so that you can also identify the things that are inside of your bloodline that also showcases itself in you. Okay. And do the work. Do the work, man. Do the work. A lot of this book that we're reading, we're learning about some of our ancestral stuff, our pain that has carried throughout the blood, throughout our veins. And it's like, okay, at some point we got to bring an end to it. But we got to first identify, we got to face it. Face the boogeyman, okay? And so that's what we're doing in this book. Again, the book is Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents, written by Isabel Wilkerson. Now, if you want your copy, I will tell you at the end of the segment how you can achieve that for free. We charge nothing for our literature over here, okay? We are the gift that keeps on giving, okay? So hold tight until the end, and I'll tell you how you can obtain your own free copy. But until then, I want to thank everybody for being here, whether you're listening and watching, tuning in from Clubhouse, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you're watching from. We're airing on several platforms at the same time. I just want to thank you for being here. Thank you for your presence, your energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please feel free to utilize the chat in the comment section. That is there for your experience, okay? If you have something, an insight, something that sticks out to you, something you want to add to the dialogue, please feel free to use them. I will give voice to your words, and we'll all share that way on all platforms. Everybody will hear your wisdom, okay? And no question is irrelevant, I promise you, because somebody else who's listening on another platform may have that same question. So you may be helping everybody, okay? So please use your voice, all right? All right, without further ado, this is Caste, The Origins of Our Discontents. We are reading over chapter 13 that is entitled The Insecure Alpha and the Purpose of an Underdog. The West Highland Terrier had been acting up since the divorce. He was just over a year old and had begun nipping and snarling once the presumed pack leader, the first husband, was no longer around. The Westie had not taken the upset to the social order in the household very well, feared his world had collapsed, his survival in danger, and had communicated his displeasure to the old alpha, the first husband, by nipping his nose once during a brief visit. I had to figure out what to do if I were to keep the Westie, which to me was the only option. I decided I had nothing to lose by consulting a canine behaviorist and found a Westie specialist who lived in California. I was expecting a list of instructions from her on how to better manage my terrier. What I got was a brief lesson in canine hierarchy and in how canines interact with one another, exert dominance or submission for the survival and the wellness of the pack. The social hierarchy and vocabulary of wolves and canines runs throughout our culture: alpha male, underdog, lone wolf, pack mentality. In part due to our observations of the dogs we may have owned and to the seeming parallels between ourselves and his companion species of social animals. Current day canine specialists have sought to correct the distortions of the term alpha male, the king of the world, chest beater of the popular imagining, that have worked their way into our psyches. True alphas, the behaviorist told me, are fearless protectors against outside incursions, but they rarely have to assert themselves within the pack, rarely have to act with aggression, bark orders, or use physical means of control. While I would never strike a dog or yank a choke chain, as I have seen other would-be alpha humans treat their dogs, my forbearance alone was not working, and neither were the shrieks of no, no, no when I found Chi-Chi chewing on another pair of slingbacks. See, that's what humans do, the behavior said. We treat them like children, but as pack animals, they respond to the cues of an alpha in a pack structure. A human alpha should never have to raise her voice. Dogs don't understand that. If you were having to raise your voice to get their attention, she said, a dog will not see you as a leader. You have already lost. A true alpha does not behave like that and doesn't have to. If a so called alpha resorts to that, they are signaling that they are not in control at all. Wow, 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 wow. I just envision that throughout our human race, okay? Man, that's good. True alphas command authority through their calm oversight of those who depend upon them. They establish their rank early in life and communicate through ancient signals their inner strength and stewardship, asserting their power only when necessary. Love this. An alpha generally eats first, decides when and who will eat after, inspires trust through firm shepherding for the safety and well being of the pack. An alpha is not necessarily the biggest or fastest, but usually the innately self assured one who can chastise a pack member with a mere look or a low voice. A true alpha wields quiet power judiciously apportioned. Yeah. You know that you are not seeing a true alpha, or put another way, you have encountered an insecure alpha if he or she must yell, scream, bully, or attack those beneath them into submission. Wow. That individual does not have the loyalty and trust of the pack and endangers the entire group through his or her insecurities, through his or her show of fear and lack of courage. Listen, endangers is crazy. Listen at that. Oh man, that's good. The behaviorist gave me a set of assignments to establish my role and assured me that once my Westie saw me as the alpha, the relationship would be reset, very likely for good. The main goal was to bring order and consistency, firmness to my compassion. The first exercise was to let him know who controlled the means of his survival, the food. At the next feeding, I was to set the food bowl down, holding on to it, and then remove the bowl to let him know my role before setting it down again for him to eat. He was at first unsettled by this new move, but adjusted to it. For the next exercise, I was to keep my hand on the food bowl the entire time he was eating. This he settled into well. The last exercise was for me to set the food bowl down, hold the bowl, and then put my hands in the food as he ate to let him know that I was not afraid of him or of what he might do. This I was not looking forward to. You have seen the size of a Westie's teeth, haven't you? I asked when she gave me this instruction. I know, she said. He will not bite the hand that feeds him. Listen, I never knew that term was derived from this. Wow. When the time came for that last exercise, I set the bowl down and kept my hands in the bowl as he ate. And I discovered that there's a reason why dog behavior is built into our language. Dogs, for sure, and people, if they are wise, do not bite the hand that feeds. Behaviorists also recommended that I consider getting another dog. Westies are a particularly social breed, and he would fare better with a companion. As much as I love Westies, I felt one spirited terrier was enough and looked for a gentle, easygoing breeze. Enter Sophie, the Havanese. She was a 3 pound mop of fur that, as a puppy, could fit inside my purse. I took Chi Chi with me when I went to get Sophie, and he was fine with her at first until we got her home. Uncertain as to what this intruder meant for the household structure, he began asserting himself as the alpha. If ever I looked away, he hunted her down under dressers and cabinets. At feeding time, he pushed her from her food bowl. One day, he went to shove her from her food bowl, and she stiffened, on alert, and glared at him looming above her. And she let out a teeny, barely audible growl, the first sounds ever to escape from her. Chi Chi jumped, startled by his turnaround. His ears and ego flattened. He slinked back to his own food bowl with his tail between his legs. From that day forward, Sophie was in charge. From then on, it was she who would eat first, walk through doors first, remain a pace ahead of him at all times on walks. Though she was only half his size once full grown, she could pin him to the wall to keep him in line if she chose to. And whenever she corrected or quarreled him, he stepped back and submitted and then nudged her to play. The Westie had been an unconvincing and ill-suited alpha, but made for a relaxed and contented beta, tail-bouncing, light-hearted and free. He came to adore Sophie and was watchful of her. Now that the hierarchy between them was settled and was in positions that suited their strengths, there was order and peace in the household. We owe our misperceptions about alpha behavior to studies of large groupings of wolves placed into captivity and forced to fight for dominance or to cower into submission. In nature, wolf packs are more likely to consist of extended family systems, packs of between 5 and 15 wolves, led by an alpha male or an alpha female, whom the pack trusts and has reason to trust for the survival of them all. The main characteristics of an alpha male wolf is a quiet confidence, quiet self-assurance. Richard McIntyre, a researcher of wolf behavior at Yellowstone National Park, told the ecologist Carl Safina, you know what's best for your pack. You lead by example. You're very comfortable with that. You are a calming effect. The other members of the pack, the various beta and gamma wolves, can thus go about their tasks with greater reassurance in the wisdom of the alpha. At the bottom of the hierarchy is the omega, the underdog, the lowest ranking wolf, arising from natural personality traits in relation to others in the pack. The omega generally eats last and serves as a kind of court gesture who acts as an escape valve. Often picked on by the other wolves, he bears the brunt of the tensions they face in the wild, where they are subject to attack from predators or from rival packs and during lean times in the hunt for prey. The omega acts as a kind of social glue, allowing frustrations to be vented without actual acts of war, wrote a wolf conservationist. The omega is so critical to the pack structure that when a pack loses its omega, it enters into a long period of mourning. The conservationist observed where the entire pack stops hunting and just lays around looking miserable, as if there were no longer a reason to go on. The loss of the omega can threaten social cohesion and put the entire pack at risk. Depending on the composition of pack, an omega might not easily be replaced. The new omega would mean a demotion for one of the lower to mid-level pack members. Either way, the pack is destabilized. After all, these roles are not artificially assigned based upon what an individual wolf looks like, as with a certain other species, but emerge as a consequence of internal personality traits that surface naturally in the forming of the pack. Humans can learn a lot from canines. The great tragedy among humans is that people have often been assigned to or seen as qualified for alpha positions, as CEOs, quarterbacks, coaches, directors of film, presidents of colleges or countries, not necessarily on the basis of innate leadership traits, but historically on the basis of having been born to the dominant caste or the dominant gender or to the right family within the dominant caste. The assumption being that only those from a certain caste or gender or religion or national origin have the innate capacity or deservedness to be leaders. This is a tragedy, not just for the many overlooked alphas from marginalized groups whose talent have gone untapped or unrecognized, who have had to watch organizations founder under insecure or ill-suited alphas. It is a tragedy not only for the misplaced alphas who may be in over their heads and who struggle to lead disgruntled staffs that may not respect them. It is a tragedy for humankind, which is deprived of the benefit of natural alphas who might lead the world with the compassion and courage that are the hallmarks of a born leader, male or female, of whatever religion or background or caste, the actual intended alphas of the species. Mm. Man, oh man, oh man, we have experienced some insecure alphas. We have experienced many insecure alphas. We have an insecure alpha in the office right now. We have many insecure alphas in the cabinets right now. I want to say, I would go as far as to say 98%. of the offices that we see, that we have in our current cabinets for our country and in others. Let me just say for the whole world, 98% are insecure alphas who have to bark and make loud noises in order to, you know, mark their authority, to respect my authority. South Park, not. They have to do all of that, loud talking and all of those things in order to, you know, in order to claim their power. When, according to canines, oh, we gotta love dogs. We gotta love canines. My goodness, I did learn something because I'm an owner of 3, and I learned something today about the dogs. Man, oh man, oh man, it is so true too. But it's the quiet ones. It's the ones that rule and lead quietly with what did he say? He said an assured confidence. Um, quiet confidence. It reminds me of all of the kings in the tarot decks. King of Cups is one that is in the authority of his emotions. You know, King of Pentacles is one that is responsible with his gifts, his talents, you know, his money, who can be trusted, a trusted leader, who's going to make the hard but fair, you know, decisions, who will rule with authority, not haywire. And then you got the King of Swords, who's one that is in control of his thoughts. He solves the issues, you know. He's not led by emotion like the Queen of Swords, right? Or the Queen of Cups. He's not led by emotions. He's led by logical thinking, rational thinking, because emotions tend to blur our view, and it tends to smudge our clarity. And then the King of Wands, one who knows how to rule, and is the CEOs, the ones who knows how to rule and govern a company, you know, a land, a country, you know, with passion, but controlled passion. You know, all of the kings in the tarot deck speaks of what an actual alpha is, a confident alpha. The strength card in Major Arcana, it speaks of that too. That's a lion sitting there. That card, it says that you, even with you knowing you are a lion, and even with you knowing that you can tear some heads apart because of your strength and ability, you have the ability to end someone. But the strength card says, even with the ability, you sit in peace and calm. I can tear you apart, but I don't have to tear you apart. No, because she just stated in the book, a real alpha knows how to give a look, and everybody tighten up. Remember old school parenting? You give a look to those kids, and they will straighten their back so quick. It was clear. It was clear Big Mama Nim was the alpha. It was clear because we dare not contest and go up against an alpha. They was real life alphas back then, okay? But we seem to have lost that. Yeah, man. That was good. That was good. We learned about the scapegoat and where that story came from. Now we've learned about biting the hand that feeds you. My goodness. We can absolutely learn from dogs, man. We can learn from nature as a whole, period. Okay. All right, you all, that concludes our chapter reading for today. That was a good one. That was a good one. Next chapter is chapter 14, entitled The Intrusion of Caste in Everyday Life. The Intrusion of Caste in Everyday Life, okay? We will meet back here on Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all platforms, wherever you're viewing from. We are airing live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Clubhouse. Okay. If you need this book, I do recommend that everybody get the book. But if you need the book, you absolutely can get a copy sent to you for free. It's the ebook copy, okay, PDF version. You can email me or inbox me wherever you're listening from. You can email, inbox, whatever the case, okay? Either way, I'll get it. But you can send it to, if you're emailing, info@biancamissblee.com. That's info@biancamissblee.com. On Clubhouse, you can tap the link right above my head. I'll be there. It'll take you straight to my website where you can send a message and request. Okay. For those who are watching via video, my website is now on the screen. It's www.biancamissblee.com. Again, www.biancamissblee.com. Everybody, no matter where you're viewing from, I do invite you to follow me on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, wherever you, and TikTok. Speaking of TikTok, we're going live tonight. We go live on TikTok every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only exclusive to TikTok, where we have a conversation entitled The Talk with Doc. So we talk about good things, serious things, fun things, raunchy things, okay? We talk. It's The Talk with Doc, okay? So tonight our topic is, I'm so glad I met you. That's the topic. I'm so glad I met you. Do you have a person or people in your life where, when you think back over your life and you compare it to the part that they played in their participation inside of your life, it's some people who are those people that when you think about that and you say, I am better today as a result of them being in my life, and I am so glad I met them. If you have those people in your life, I do invite you to come and join us. Only on TikTok, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. Central, and I believe that is 8 p.m. Pacific, okay? Alrighty, you all, listen. That concludes today's session. Meet me back here, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Voices of Empowerment. Now, remember, I love you. I mean it. There is absolutely, positively nothing you can do about it. And I promise you, it won't work if you try it, okay? I will see you all back here, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday for Voices of Empowerment. Have a great evening.